Hello everyone, I'm Raven from Raven Comics, and today we'll continue the story of the Batman of tomorrow and see how all the Robins joined forces to stop him. We begin with Bruce Wayne, who is watching over and over that moment when Tim Drake was killed. He knows something is wrong and that Tim didn't really die. Alfred comes to him and tells him he needs to sleep, or at least do so for a few hours. The butler is preparing to put him to sleep with Scarecrow's tranquilizers. If Bruce continues without sleeping, Alfred will set his plan in motion. Batman says that he's already lost too much time, and the answers haven't come quickly enough. Whoever is behind all this wanted to make sure Batman didn't suspect anything. It was a targeted tactic. Even Damian has spoken to him and asked him to investigate every clue, no matter how small. Batman spent a week investigating Tim's remains. It's clear everything was intentional. Whoever kidnapped him knew exactly how to deceive Batman and keep him from finding out. Batman buried Tim's fake ashes and wasted a lot of time before realizing Tim wasn't actually dead. All this time, Tim has been trapped, knowing that one day his mentor would come looking for him. The bad news is that Batman wasn't looking for him. Now that he's lost all that time, he won't rest until he brings Tim home. The conversation is interrupted. The emergency signal from Red Robin's suit has just been activated, and the signal is coming from Gotham City. Faced with this, Batman rushes off in the Batmobile. Elsewhere, Tim is lying on a hospital bed. Remember that at the end of the previous chapter, his future version attacked him with a powerful electric shock. The doctors wonder why he's dressed like that. Meanwhile, Batman arrives at the location where the signal was coming from. Upon arrival, he only finds Red Robin's suit. Bad news, Tim isn't responding to medical treatment. If they don't act soon, he'll go into cardiac arrest. Batman contacts Alfred, and Alfred tells him that Tim is in the emergency room 3 buildings down. Since Tim isn't wearing his suit, Batman comes up with an idea. He shows up as Bruce Wayne and tells the doctors that he's Tim's legal guardian. Additionally, he owns the hospital, so everyone has to leave the room immediately. Fortunately, Tim responds to the treatment and recognizes Bruce. Batman apologizes to him and asks him to conserve his strength. Tim knows there's no time to rest. They need to prepare because he didn't come alone. Where is she? Where is Batwoman? She's in danger. Elsewhere, Kate is enjoying some free time when suddenly her phone sends out an alert and she leaves. In the Batcave, everyone welcomes Tim, who greets Batwoman and Cassandra. Now that almost everyone is gathered, Red Robin brings them up to speed on the situation. It's important that everyone follow to the letter what he's about to tell them. A highly dangerous future version of Tim is in Gotham. He was forced to take up the mantle of Batman and isn't happy about it. He believes he can prevent that future by making changes to this timeline. What he wants to do is kill Batwoman because she is the one who tarnishes his future. Kate doesn't know how to react to this. Tim tells her that apparently she did something in his future that drastically changed it. Before they continue talking, he asks if Spoiler is coming. We then move to Stephanie Brown, who's arriving at her base. Upon arrival, the first thing she does is listen to some news. It seems something bad is happening in Metropolis. Out of nowhere, the Batman of the future appears behind her. He tells her he's sorry. He should have listened to her, but now he's going to make things right. He immediately leaves, and Spoiler doesn't know who said that to her. Back with Tim, since he wants to protect Batwoman, they plan to lock her in a cell. Kate doesn't like this idea as she believes she doesn't need protection. Tim asks her to trust him, as his future version is counting on her coming after him as soon as she knows she's a target. A few hours ago, he watched him fight Doomsday. His abilities are incredible. If they fight alone without being prepared, he'll easily defeat them. As they talk, Tim is also redesigning the armor doors so they won't be easy for him to breach. As if that weren't enough, Orphan, Clayface, and Azrael are also here to protect her. Luke tells Tim that he's found a way to track temporal energy, but when he inputs the data into the computer, it can't crack it. Tim says he'll give him access so he can track that temporal energy. Later, Tim goes to Batman and asks if there's any trace of the enemy. Bruce says he already has people working on the search, but if they're protecting their target, the enemy is most likely headed here. Tim wonders why he hasn't arrived yet. Batman tells him it's because he's lost so much. He's probably taking his time to look at this world before it turns dark. Bruce would do the same. He'd take the time to see everything he's lost and savor it. Tim says that's likely, though his timeline was very different. A while ago, he spoke about a friend, someone named Connor. Tim feels like that name pulls at his heart, but he doesn't know why. Batman asks him where he'd go if he felt lost in this strange yet familiar world. Tim says he'd go to the only place that ever felt like home. We go to Wayne Manor, where Alfred is trimming some flowers. Suddenly, Batman arrives. Alfred realizes he's not Bruce Wayne. Batman removes his mask and reveals himself to be Tim Drake. Alfred's face says it all. He's filled with emotion at seeing him, though he doesn't understand why he looks so different. Batman tells him that he's not his Tim. The Tim from this timeline is with Bruce, and this one is from a few decades in the future. Alfred says he never thought Tim would have to bear the weight of the Batman mantle. Tim tells him he didn't imagine it either. The reason for his visit is that he wanted to ask him something. If there was something he could do, something that could free him from becoming Batman, something truly terrible, should he do it? Alfred asks what he's thinking of doing. Someone new arrives and says they'll answer that question for him. Damian, Nightwing, and Red Hood are here. They won't let him do anything, and will send him back where he belongs. Their job is to make sure he doesn't lose his way. Batman tells them they're all so young and stupid. None of them can truly compare to him. They may have always been stronger, but they never matched him where it mattered. He's been training with simulations based on every member of the Bat family. They lost this fight the moment they decided to confront him. Batman tells Alfred that it would be a good time to run since he's about to get some shoulder exercise. The Batman of the future prepares and is about to attack. Alfred runs to the Batcave. Here, he gives an order to the central computer, but it denies him. Batman and Red Robin are here. Alfred tells them that the Batman of the future has taken control of the central computer. Also, he's fighting upstairs. Suddenly, there's an explosion. Damian, Dick, and Jason have suffered an attack. They all get up, and the Bat family reunites. Tim tells him he doesn't need to do this. He's good, but he'll never be able to defeat the real Batman or his 4 Robins. No matter how smart this place is, it meant a lot to him once. They can help him. They can work together to help him with his problems. His future self tells him he's not foolish enough to come to the Batcave unprepared. Besides, there's no emotion that can tie him to them anymore. Future Tim reveals his plan. He came to the Batcave to use the central computer. This is because it's connected to a half-finished program that helped him create his future. Batman won't finish that program for a few years, but he has already perfected it. This protocol is so perfect that it doesn't even need a satellite to function since it can be run from his suit. Jason asks Batman what he started to build. Batman knows this is bad. You only need to look at Batman's face to know what comes next. Future Batman gives the order. It's time to activate this terror program under his command. Brother Eye is online, and the Batman of the future will be the one giving it orders. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic Ocean, Ulysses is recording a message for Colonel Kane. With due respect, he has to file a formal complaint. He acknowledges that all the members of the organization he worked for are very upset with him for his actions in Gotham City a few months ago. Ulysses had a sick obsession with hurting people. All this time, he has been a dangerous teenager incapable of feeling human empathy. The work he did for the organization was questioned, and he was later removed from weapons development, as well as other activities he was involved in. The purpose of this message is not to issue any threats. Quite the contrary. Despite being removed from his position, he has been working hard to regain the Colonel's trust. Ulysses is willing to do anything to get out of this lousy job. Suddenly, the message is interrupted as a strange noise starts to be heard, so he cuts the transmission. Ulysses checks what's going on. Here we see that he has a Red Robin suit, which is receiving a signal. It seems there are 2 other versions of this suit in Gotham City. The strange thing for Ulysses is that this shouldn't be happening since Robin was supposed to be dead. Brother Eye activates and takes control of the facility. Ulysses asks the computer to activate the anti-hacking protocol. Brother Eye tells him that this cannot be done. It then activates Ulysses' drones. Yes, the same ones he used to try to destroy Gotham City when Tim Drake disappeared. The target of the drones is Catherine Kane, better known as Batwoman. Ulysses starts running. He has to inform the Colonel about this situation, though maybe he shouldn't, and finally see what his toys are capable of. Meanwhile, in the Batcave, the Bat family is fighting against the Batman of tomorrow. He thinks all of his enemies' actions will be futile. Brother Eye already has the weapons he needs to complete the mission. No one will be able to reach the Belfry in time to defend Batwoman. He doesn't want to hurt anyone else. That's not why he's here. His motives are good. He wants to give their lives back to the entire family. Red Hood says he doesn't believe in Santa Claus anymore and is about to throw a punch. The Batman of Tomorrow intercepts it with a staff. He then tells him that in a few years, he was going to learn that one of his bones never healed after what the Joker did to him. There is a bone spur getting weaker in the joint of his hip. Now that Jason knows, he can treat the bone spur. The next one to fight is Nightwing. Dick asks why he's doing all this. If things are so bad in his future, they can all go with him to fix everything. They just need to work together. Batman tells him the biggest problem is that the problem isn't any of them in particular. Well, maybe Damian should be killed right now. The main reason is because he causes too much pain to the Kent boy. Damian wonders if he's talking about Jonathan. Robin tries to punch Batman, but he intercepts it with a strong kick. Batman is about to say something to Batman when he suddenly starts suffering. It seems he doesn't have much time for this. What everyone needs to know right now is that Batman is a curse, and when he dies, that curse systematically destroys each of their lives. That's what has happened for years in the future. Bruce Wayne is the next to confront him, but he also fails in his attack. Future Tim tells him that he always worries about them every night. Since Batman found them, he's left them more broken than they already were. The Batman mantle is a corrosive poison that destroys anyone who touches it. Batman will die knowing that is the truth. Tim knows because that's what Bruce told him the day he died. Bruce says nothing. It seems, after all, Tim is telling the truth. The words end, and the Batman of the future delivers a strong electric shock to his chest. Future Tim has to make this easier. He just defeated Batman. All he had to do to beat him was distract him with an emotional plea. Future Tim asks Brother Eye, what's the tachyon load? It tells him it's at 48% and rising. Hearing this, Tim knows time is short. Therefore, he orders Brother Eye to activate all the Batmobiles. The Batman of the future will leave for the Belfry. Tim will go after him. Meanwhile, in the Belfry, Batwing detects something approaching. The screen shows a fleet of colony drones. They can wipe out entire buildings. The last time they came here was when Tim disappeared. Batwing says those drones are the reason he locked him up. These cells can survive many attacks. Not even these drones will be able to take out this cell. Well, that doesn't seem to be a problem for future Tim Drake. Brother Eye deactivates the security systems. No cell can protect Batwoman. Kate tells everyone to leave. She'll be the one to keep them busy. Orphan says not everyone will stay to fight together. In the Batcave, Tim Drake tells his counterpart that he should have a way to return to the Belfry without using the transportation system he built from scratch. His future self says there's no need for that. Besides, he wanted him to follow. He then kicks him hard, and Tim falls to the ground. Future Batman tells him he should be smart enough to know he wouldn't be able to defeat him alone. He doesn't want to hurt him, but he will if necessary. Suddenly, he starts suffering again. It seems Hyper Time is fighting back. The timeline doesn't want to be changed. The more he interacts with the family, the more the timeline will try to send him back to where he belongs. Although if it were impossible to change this timeline, time would have already sent him back, no doubt. So there is still hope to change this timeline. Batwoman will be killed, and the future will be saved. Tim Drake thinks Catherine is his ally, but in a week, the breaking point will come. Her actions are the beginning of a chain of events that creates him. If Batman kills Batwoman now, Tim can have the life he always wanted. You know, having a normal relationship with Stephanie and going to college, in addition to having a complete life without any worries. It's time to leave behind all these ridiculous capes and suits. The responsibility will not fall on him. If Tim wants, he can be freer than he ever was since he saw Batman devastated by Jason's death. That moment when he decided to act and become Robin changed everything. If he doesn't act now, he will lose everything. All he has to do is let his future self act. The blood won't be on his hands. He can walk away clean from this. Tim Drake refuses to do this. With no other option, his future self knocks him out with a blow. Meanwhile, at the clock tower, Batwoman and her team are fighting against Ulysses' drones. The Batman of Tomorrow arrives and asks Brother Eye to create a dome in the center of the clock tower and stop the drones. He will be locked inside with Catherine and do this himself, just the two of them. It seems Batwoman is going to give him a hard time in the near future. Tim tells her no, that she will disappoint them all. Tim used to think very highly of her. After all, he was the one who told Batman that she was the best choice to run the clock tower. Kate has no idea what she's doing or what she's hiding behind that confidence she always shows. But in the end, all she cares about is helping herself. Batwoman destroys people. That's what she has always done. Either way, this ends today. Batman is about to shoot her. Suddenly, someone throws a batarang at him. Tim Drake has arrived, ready to stop him. It's not yet time for Batwoman to die. The Batman of the future wonders how this is possible. He was the one who built these computers. Brother Eye has lost control. Batwing tells him he's right. He built the computers, but he rebuilt them. The young man channeled all the control of the database to his systems. Brother Eye doesn't have the power to change that. The Batman of the future may be able to hack it in about 10 minutes, but as far as they all know, he doesn't have that time. Batman begins to suffer again. However, he thinks he can still do it. A battle ensues. Batman goes after Batwoman, but she manages to defend herself. Tim comes from behind and delivers a strong kick. Every time a timeline tries to pull him back, he loses strength. In the end, he's knocked down, and all that's left is to ask Brother Eye to destroy the building. That won't be possible. Batman contacts him and says he infected the systems of the vehicles but forgot about the older models. Now the rest of the family is in the air in battle formation. It's necessary to destroy all the drones to prevent another attack. Jason won't lie to them. He used to dream a lot about doing this. Damian mocks him, saying he was piloting one of these when he was still in diapers. Batman tells everyone to focus and keep destroying the drones. It's time to end this. Bruce asks Tim to finish off his future self. Tim says he's tired of fighting. Red Robin tells his future self that he knows this whole Robin thing comes with a price, and obviously it hurts. But he still remembers what Batman and Robin meant before that was his life. They say that no matter who you are, you can stand up and make the world better. He doesn't believe that Batman's life has to be a lonely one. You can have people by your side who lift you up and make you strong. You can be a complete person, even as Batman. This whole building was his dream. They can work together to keep that dream alive. The future Tim starts to cry and tells him that none of this is going to work. Soon, he'll see that this whole world will fall apart, and it will destroy him. Brother Eye is compromised. The program has disconnected from the suit. In a few moments, Brother Eye will disappear along with Batman, and they will rejoin their timeline. Tim Drake says goodbye and tells his other self to hold on tight as he can to every moment because this will end sooner than he imagines. Suddenly, the timeline takes Tim Drake away. Batman contacts Tim and asks him what happened. Is it over? Is his future version gone? But Tim just looks out at the city without saying a word. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm TJ Prime, and see you in the next video.